guys, Dr. Christy Ennis. Today we are going to go over how to get rid of mid-back pain permanently or forever. So, first thing you need to know is that the spine has really two main jobs here. One is mobility, right? So it's moving, bending, twisting, side bending. And the other is stability, meaning not moving, right? So all those muscles that are around it, helping to protect it, to keep it from moving. Now today we're actually going to go over two groups of exercises. One to help you actually move, and then the other to help stabilize. What tends to happen is we're all sitting like this nowadays, hopefully not quite this bad, but so that spine starts to actually bend forward, and then it's really hard to get it to extend. And when it's hard to extend, it's also hard to get it to twist. Now, we can correct that, but a lot of times what gets missed is then the strengthening portion to keep it there, right? So I could get you to have posture like this, but if you don't work on those muscles that help support that extension and that rotation, you end up looking like this again. Not a good thing, right? So the first thing we actually want to start with is actually, if anybody has any idea on what to name my fabulous spine, I keep calling him Fred. I don't think he really looks like a Fred. So if you've got any thoughts, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to put Fred out of the way for now. So the first thing we want to do is actually work on that extension. Like I said, getting that spine to extend is important because it's hard to rotate if you're in this position. That's why we want to do the extension first. So one of the easiest ways to do that is in a chair. I'm just going to turn my chair around a little bit here. You're going to cross your arms either over your chest or, if it feels okay, behind the head, and then leaning right back onto that backrest. Now, I know you guys don't all have a wonderfully fabulous folding chair like me that goes only up to the mid-back. So if your chair goes up really high, you can take a pillow or you can take one of these lovely squishy balls, and you can put that behind your back. And then you're doing the same idea, though, and leaning against there. Trying to open those elbows up to open the front of that body as well does help. Again, if your shoulders hurt, keep those hands crossed right over your chest. All right, so there's one way to do some extension. Another way, if that one doesn't feel good for you, is using the foam roller. So foam roller is going to go basically right below the shoulder blades. Same idea with the hands, either here or here, lifting that butt up and then letting yourself truly extend over that roller, right? And you're going to come back and forth. If you find a spot that's extra yucky, you guys know I love that word, then you're going to spend a little extra time on that. If you don't have a foam roller and you have zero desire to get one, the other option for that extension are tennis balls. And as you can see, I have a lovely turtle sock to put my tennis balls in. You do not have to have a turtle sock, but you do want to have something that you're okay with stretching out. I do not wear these turtle socks anymore. So little space in between for the spine. Same idea, probably a little bit lower than the shoulder blades, and you can move this one up a little bit too. But you're going to do, right, let yourself extend over. You can support that head, doing a little partial crunch, making sure to keep the neck safe, and then back over. Don't hold your breath like this, right? Make sure that you're actually breathing as you do this. Okay, so those are your extensions. When you have finished the extension, you're going to move on to that rotation. Now, if you have limited motion or mobility in the hip flexors, which let me tell you guys, if you are a sitter, you're going to have some limited hip mobility. This is usually a good way to start instead of on the ground. So taking, again, that ball or that pillow, squeezing in between those legs to help activate the core and keep the lumbar spine stable, either crossing here and then really concentrating on moving from this middle portion, right? Again, a little extra added, although I think this makes you extend a little bit much sometimes. But you're going as far as you can to one direction, back to the middle, and then again over to that other direction, not letting this. That's why, again, the squeeze of the ball, right? It helps. That sounded Swedish chef-like there a little bit. All right, we're going to go do some bowling and get rid of that. I think I hit my camera person, so I'll apologize. Let me get rid of this chair. So notice I just said too, right? The hip flexors get tight. So this next one is an awesome way to work both parts, the rotation and the hip flexor. So you're going to want to go against the wall. I'm going to kneel with my left knee back. Right leg is actually going to go on the wall, or leg is going to go on the wall. Try not to lean forward, staying up nice and tall. Little pelvic tilt. That's going to already stretch that hip flexor. Now to get that lovely stretch through that mid-back without whacking anything, arm's going to come all the way up, and you might even feel a stretch just doing that. But I'm going to take my Miss Pac-Man hand all the way over and across. So I'm rotating into that wall. So rotate and reach. You can even add a little bit of a stretch up. So now I'm stretching hip flexor and all the way into that mid-back and side. Feels super duper good. Now, if you do have decent hip flexor mobility, you can do this kneeling one also. So down on the ground, hand behind the head if possible. Again, cross if need be. And I'm going to take that elbow towards my opposite hand and then open up, let the head follow if you can. Try not to collapse into this one, right? So again, the seated one, if you have really bad hip flexibility, or like I said, that kneeling one, and this is just a little extra oomph to go. Make sure to get both sides, and you'll probably find one side is harder than another. All right, so there's your mobility, getting things moving. Now we want to go into that stability, right? So one of the easiest ones to do, no equipment or anything needed, is to go onto the stomach. I'm going to have my hands a little bit wider than shoulder width, tucking that chin in as I put my head down, and then I'm hovering those hands off the ground as I lift the upper part of my body, okay? You can even add, if it feels okay, bring those arms forward a little bit as you lift, squeeze into those shoulder blades. You only want to lift as high as you can so that it's not painful. I don't go in this direction real well, right? You can see I need to work on this. So that's how as high as I can lift. All right, coming on up. Again, we want to work on that postural stability, right? That's part of that. So this last exercise, you do need a band for. We're going to get, like I said, postural and the rotation component all at once. So squeezing into those shoulder blades, I am going to do a row at the same time I add that little bit of rotation, okay? And I can feel this all along that left side of the body. So this is a super duper one to do, right? 10 or 15 reps if you can. So there you have it. You got the mobility to move first, and then you're going to strengthen and shore it all up with some of those stability exercises. So thanks so much for tuning in today, guys.